Welcome
Oh,
back.
hey,
So,
witches.
whew, we left
Yeah.
off on a cliffhanger. We're at the
Yeah,
Court
what
of
the fuck?
Nightmares, and Eris walks in,
And Reese fucking knew about it. Like, it was like Reese's idea. Fucker.
and nobody knows. Nobody else knew. So, here we are,
Right?
chapter 26.
Obviously, the first thing that I wrote was, yeah, some warning might have been nice or appropriate, I said, especially for more.
Right?
Like,
Yeah. Like knowing what might happen at the Court of Nightmares, like, she's already going to be maybe not traumatized, but she's already going to be like upset. Especially if
right,
he sat there and he's like, "Oh, I kind of knew. Like, oh, yeah, I knew your asking price. Like, whatever." Like,
right.
if you already knew that, then why didn't you give her a
Some
heads up?
forewarnings. Yeah.
Ugh. Anyways,
And then, so, Kier's asking price is access to Valaris for him and his people. And of course, Reese just agrees. Like, what?
right?
And he says, with some precautions or something like that.
Conditions.
And I'm like, what precaution? Like, what could you possibly put into place that would make it okay for them to come up
Right.
here? Like,
And I don't think we find out about that until next chapter.
what? Oh, about what the conditions are.
Not necessarily. Well, no, we know what the conditions are, but we don't know like what his plan originally was.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Um so there's a part on page 271 where uh Moore obviously is upset at this point because Kier is like, I want access to here. I want my whole court to have access to it. So Moore's upset, and Az is like, okay, I'm going to comfort her because I know she's upset. So he laid like a hand on top of hers, and she removed it so freaking quick, as if she was burned. And even though he got rejected, he didn't really like show that he was rejected and that it hurt him. But Eris chuckled softly at that. And I wonder if Az has literally cared for her for so long, and everyone knows, including Eris. I think he knows. I mean, with the way
I
he's
mean, it
acting.
seems that way for sure. Yeah.
Like, I wonder if did Az know more before the whole Eris betrothal thing, or did she did she meet Cassian as like
I
essentially
think,
the night before they were gonna leave?
yeah, I think they met like in the midst of it all, right?
Yeah,
Like,
because I think she met Cassian early, not early, but like prior to leaving, and then was just like, hey, help me out.
right.
I
And
will not be sold off to this marriage if I am a virgin.
yeah. I think
So
she met Azrael after that. At least that's what my understanding
yeah, I don't know. I
was.
don't know if it was like, if I can't remember if she knew Cassian and Az before, or if it was like a one night stand, like upon meeting, kind of like met these two, chose Cassian kind of thing. Because she knows
Right.
no strings attached.
Could be. I don't know.
But I don't know, with Eris looking as if he understands and sees that like he cares for her, I wonder if he's known all along.
Could be.
I would like that
I don't know.
backstory.
Yeah.
Hmm. Anyways, um,
Oh gosh, excuse me. Thought that was a yawn, but it came a little more. You're welcome.
um, there was another one too where it was like, um, oh, here looked at more after Reese was like, you're allowed in, but there's going to be restricted access, limited stays, limited numbers, all that kind of stuff. Um, Kier looked at more. noted the despair and anger that she was showing and smiled. And he's like, done. And it's like, oh,
That was
so that's
literally
what that was about.
your whole goal. You don't actually care about Valaris. Like,
No,
your goal was to hurt your daughter, which is fucking sick.
just because she did not want to be sold off like some heifer.
Right. Ugh.
Ugh, whatever. What a shitty
Yeah.
parent.
For real though, but I feel like we already knew that. Like, he just
Yeah.
ew. Um Page 272. Feyre asks for the mirror, the Ouroboros. Um and Kira's like, you can have it, but you have to look into it and it's gonna make you crazy, basically. Or it's gonna break you, or it breaks people. And I'm just like, what? Like, did the bone carver do that on purpose? Like, did he know that he
Right.
was asking for the impossible?
Probably.
What is
I
happening?
mean, he likes death. So what better way than making someone go insane and
It's
possibly hurting
true.
themselves to the point of death so that he can get the bones to carve that exact picture.
That's true. Hmm.
Crazy. Um, I had some on page 227, 274. Oh my god.
I on 273, I just said I didn't think that Eris would tell his dad. Like, he seems more self-serving than that. I
Yeah,
didn't think he would share any news with his dad.
no. And honestly, there was uh basically on the top of page 274, um more is like demanding Eris to tell her what's the asking price. And she like makes a snide comment saying like another little bride for you to torture. And he's like, I don't know who fed you those lies to begin with, Morgan. Likely the bastards you surround yourself with. And she's like, well, you never gave any evidence to the contrary. Certainly not when you left me in those woods. And he's like, there were forces at work that you have never considered. And I am not going to waste my breath explaining them to you. Believe what you want about me. And she basically was like, or Feyre cut in and says like, well, you hunted me like an animal. Like, seriously? And Eris is pale face, flushed. I was given an order and sent to do it with two of my brothers. And then so they demanded to know, like, well, what about Lucian? Like, you hunted him down too. And Eris actually got really upset and said, you know nothing about what had happened that day. Nothing. And so they're talking about what happened, and basically he's like, well, how do you think he made it to the spring court? How do you think he was able to go unharmed? And I was like, oh, that's right. I forgot. Eris has kind of a redemption.
Which I don't
Damn it.
want. Like,
I
keep
know.
it. I don't want a redemption arc for Eris.
And
Ew.
I guess it's kind of one of those things too. It's like, well, we've been told one story. So what if the truth unfolds and finds out that he actually didn't do anything that people have been essentially telling everybody? So like Reese, for instance, like he has this persona with like every single person and all of Prithian, but really he's like not that. So like what if Eris is that? So would it really be a redemption arc, or is this just his true colors unfolding?
Ew. Anyway,
I'm trying to consider it, okay?
the next thing I have is on page 276.
Same, go
Um,
ahead.
when he's talking about how he gave more her freedom. Um, and then Azriel's like, what happened next? And he's like, there are a few things I regret. That is one of them. But perhaps one day now that we're allies, I shall tell you why and what it cost me. Like, excuse me, what it cost you? Fuck you, bro.
Right?
Like, no. That's all I had for that chapter.
At the very beginning of that page, he started it off strong. I think like at the end of the previous page, um Eris like got up and he was like frowning. And he's like, I'm surprised you still can't control yourself around him. You had every emotion written right on that pretty face of yours, talking about more to Kier. And Az pops up and goes, watch it. And Eris looked between them, smiling faintly, secretly, as if he knew something that Azriel didn't. And he goes, I wouldn't have touched you, he said to Moore, who blanched again. But when you fucked that other bastard, I knew why you did it. Whoa. Why?
Well, yeah, just like
It's like literally they're talking about, you're literally talking about like giving her sage advice to be around her father, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I wouldn't have touched you. But since you fucked that other bastard, I was like,
right, like, oh, okay, sir. All right.
damn.
Okay. Yeah.
Jeez.
My goodness, I'm sorry. I keep yawning. I'm
It's fine.
tired.
It was like
Mhm.
first day of work for both of us.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel
I
like you
had
just repeated what I repeat, or no, I repeated what you repeated. I literally just like blacked out for a second.
yeah, I've had new teacher orientation the last 2 days, but then today was like the first teacher day.
Yeah,
I'm just tired. Plus, I
I
just
had
ate a
a
lot of food.
that food coma though.
Yes, for real though.
I literally just had an 8 hour shift at a customer service store where I haven't really been on my feet in a lot of months. I mean, it's one thing like walking here, there, and everywhere at like a high school, but at least I can like sit for 45 minutes.
Right.
Like I sat for 30 minutes today during an 8 hour shift, other than that. So, like,
It's a
fuck,
lot.
I'm tired,
Yeah.
physically tired. Anyways,
Chapter 27.
yeah. So sorry if I repeat something that you repeated because I feel like I'm just gonna like black out again.
It's fine. I didn't have anything
Anyways,
till page 278.
I got some on the next.
Um, when Reese just kind of acts a little surprised. I mean, I know he's not surprised, but like when they get back and Moore freaks the fuck out, she's like hitting him in his chest and screaming at him. And he's like, our hands were tied. I made the best of it. And
Did you?
right, and she's like, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you tell me? Like, why didn't you say? And Cassian is pissed too. Um, they're all like, Eris is a
Was Cassie
snake.
in there? No, he was at the
No,
house.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, and Amren's like to Lucian, she says, your whole family is despicable, but Eris may prove a better alternative than his dad. And it's just Moore's
True.
like, it's not about Eris. It's about here. This is my home, and you're going to let Kira destroy it. And Reese is like defending himself, and Moore is not fucking having it. But I'm just like, did
Right.
you really not expect that reaction? Like, are you really surprised, Reese?
Like honestly, I feel like Reese would have just like let her get it all out, and then once she's not pissed anymore, excuse me, Jesus. Uh, once she's not pissed anymore, then I think you can go ahead and like explain yourself. But
yeah.
it's like if I'm upset, do not explain anything to me. I just want to be pissed off right now.
Right. And like, I feel like Reese probably did it the way he did it partially because he knew that Moore's reaction was going to be a selling point for her dad, but also not giving her warning was really shitty.
Yeah. Like I feel like even if she told him, he told her, I mean, she her face would still be the same, especially
Yeah,
bringing it up
when he
again and
walked
him
in,
asking.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't
just
know.
mm-mm.
Well, and then she continues yelling at him on the next, talking about like, what if Amarantha were alive and like she walked through that door and she was our best hope at winning and you had to work with her? Like, how would you feel? And I was like, "Oh,
Right? And then
call him out."
Reese is like, if she could buy us a chance at defeating Hybern and keeping you guys alive, I would thank the fucking cauldron. No, you would not.
You'd fucking
No.
kill her.
Right. Like that is
Before
not what
any
would
I mean,
happen.
technically everybody else would probably kill her before he got
Yeah,
to her.
I just
I think
like
he'd be just so stunned.
right.
Like all that
Mm,
trauma.
right. But he wouldn't just thank the cauldron. Like, fuck off, Reese. You would not.
Yes, Amarantha's back from her grave. I get to fuck her for the next 50 years, but we'll survive.
Right. Shut up, Reese. um, so then on the next page, Amryn is just like a fierce old auntie, and I fucking love her.
She's like a cranky old lady. I think
Yes,
I
she's like, I kept this unit from breaking for 49 years. I'm not going to let you rip it to shreds now. Working with Kira and Eris is not forgiving them, and when this war is over, I will hunt them down and butcher them with you if that's what you wish. Um, and I just love it. She's like, my father will poison this city, and Amron's like, I will not allow him to, and I'm just like,
And honestly,
I
if
love
Amaren
her.
says that,
Right.
it's
Well,
truth.
yeah. I mean, here in just a little bit, they're gonna let Amron loose to hunt, and fucking
That's
terrifying.
terrifying.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and
Fucking terrifying.
I don't know. It's with uh I just she's like the cool aunt, like the drunk aunt. Like, yo, call me up. You're drunk or high at a party. Like, I will pick your ass up and I will like we'll have a sleepover so you don't get caught with your parents. Like,
Right?
trust me, I can see
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Um,
I don't have anything
I
else till
just
282.
I guess I'm on 281. So here's where we find Amron's the start of Amron's anger. Basically, uh, so Cassian is a fucking idiot, and he looks straight at Feyre and goes, "What happened with the mirror?" And
Right in front
Feyre's
of
like,
Amron.
"Oh, yeah, Kier said it's mine if I can do this, but no one's ever walked away from it." And then more answers, and she's like, "Yeah, that's true. Like, I was raised with legends of the mirror. None were pleasant or successful." And Cassian's like, "Oh, great. So what now?" And Aaron goes, "You're talking about the Ouroboros?" And everyone's like, "Fuck."
Oh shit, I forgot she was here.
Right? And she's like, "Why do you want that mirror?" And Reese goes, "Well, if honesty is the theme of the night."
Right? Like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
Reese, it totally is
Might
the
as well just
theme.
piss off everybody all at once.
Yeah, right? Like, fuck it. Let's just we'll rip this cord apart.
Oh my
Because the bone
gosh.
cleaver requested it. Aaron's nostrils flared. It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, like what?
And Cassian just is like, your old friends say hello.
Oh my gosh.
It's like,
And then they're
honestly,
like,
that would piss me off. I'd be like, fuck, dude.
yeah, and
Oh,
she's like, why'd you go? And Cassian's like, we had some questions for the carver and we have some for you. And then she figures it out. She's like, you're going to unleash the carver. And Faye was like, yes. And then they're like talking back and
duh.
forth and basically asking her how she got out. And she just says no. And Reese is like, it wasn't a request. And I'm like, I feel like,
The puckered face.
all right. You're just like, I think you're kind of looking around like, what's gonna happen next? Is she gonna
I
fucking
can
kill him?
just,
Like,
I can just see it. The meme of Cassian, like,
yes, like,
ooh.
right, like, yeah. I was like,
No,
bold move, Reese.
no, no, no,
Oh my
no.
gosh.
Well, now, but now we get to figure out exactly what. Well, I wouldn't say what, but like something along the lines of what Amron was, like an
Right, we hear
idea,
a little bit about it, and
which
then
is
how she had to.
terrifying.
Yeah, Yep. And like how she was like an outsider in her own people too. She was not like,
Because she was curious. She wanted to know more
yeah.
about, I wouldn't, what was that, like feelings? Ugh, no, feelings suck. But it
That was
must be nice not to have feelings.
yeah.
Because she didn't have any until she like
Yeah.
put herself in a whole new body, right?
They didn't feel pain, they didn't feel regret, they didn't want things, but she did want things. She wanted to know what was going on and everything.
Knowledge will kill you.
And then when she bound herself to a human for or a mortal form, mortal, immortal, whatever, a fey form, um, she was no longer the threat that she used to be. So the door just unlocked. Like, what?
Which is so weird. It's like you're literally in this prison that is like impenetrable,
Yeah,
and
it just lets you
you
go.
it just opens up like what? And wouldn't if people talk or see or whatever through the walls and the rocks, and wouldn't they see that?
But who's there? Like, who's monitoring that? Nobody's actually there, like guarding the place.
True. Whatever.
Yeah,
Nothing makes sense in this world.
yeah. I just love Amren's story, and I love learning more about her.
But
Also,
listen,
the next page. What?
hmm,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go on a tangent in a way.
Oh, mine's about the next page in a lane, and something I was going to say
Oh,
last week that
mine's
I
on the
didn't
same
think.
page. So what if what if Amryn is an angel, like from the Bible, in this other realm, and she's laying waste, like she explained, to places or whatever, like from Revelations.
Mm, mm,
I'm just saying.
mhm,
Mm.
mm. That's how I feel about that idea. Just I don't know.
You don't know, you don't agree, or like you
I
still gotta
didn't.
think on it.
Yeah, I'd have to think on it some more. I think I didn't go there. Hmm.
Listen, all all I could think of when she was explaining her thing was the fabled angel or whatever that has like a shit ton of eyeballs.
That
They're
kind of
always
cracks
talking
me
about her
up.
silver eyes, so it's like
Right?
eyeballs.
I guess.
She's one of the angels laying waste to earth in Revelations. I don't know. She's laying waste to cities, so I was like, whoa.
I
What if
mean,
she's like an angel? I went like
eh,
very supernatural with it.
I see that. Hmm.
It's a good
I
show.
don't know.
So
It is.
I think that's why I thought about it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, fine. I'll take my conspiracy theory elsewhere.
Um. So last week I said something that I had a theory and that I was going to explain the theory when we got to it later, and we never got to this chapter. It's in this chapter. So Elaine is a seer. I feel.
Mm, yeah.
I mean, we don't know anything about that yet, but she's talking about. Um, I saw young hands wither with age. I saw a box of black stone. I saw a feather of fire land on snow and melt it. And then she says, everyone thinks I can hear her crying. Everyone thinks she's dead, but she's not, only different, changed as I was. And she just keeps saying all this weird ass shit, and they think she's insane. But I don't think she's insane. I think she's prophesizing.
I literally made the comment. I was like so enigmatic, Elaine, but like what do you think it's the cauldron like telling her that the old like that the old hag queens about the old Hag Queens and what had happened, and like maybe they died.
Maybe. I feel like it's the cauldron telling her something, but I
Yeah.
feel that she is either seeing like visions of what's currently happening elsewhere or seeing the future, which,
Or even maybe like seeing like past events.
yeah.
Like maybe
Yeah.
it happened, but not, she
Or
obviously
maybe
wasn't there
all
to witness
three.
it. Who
Right.
knows? Also on that same page, uh, no offense, but who the fuck drinks hot milk?
I don't know. You
Li-
always hear about it in like books and in movies and shit. Like they drink a glass of hot milk before bed.
yeah,
But like,
let me get
who
you some
actually
hot
does that
milk.
in real life? You
When I
see it in
think hot
movies and
milk,
shit all the time, though.
yeah. Well, okay, in the play that I was just in, one of the characters who's the psychic, she was offered like a drink, like, oh, have a brandy before you leave or something like that. Like, have some, like another martini. She was like, no. Oh, no, what was the line? We always made fun of it because it was so weird. Oh, I have some Ovaltine at home in the saucepan already. It just needs hotting up. And I'm like,
But maybe it's a
first of all,
British
why would
thing
you leave
then.
Ovaltine in a cup or like in a hot like saucepan? Why? Isn't that like a milk product?
I
Why? Why
mean,
hot milk?
I don't know.
Curdling.
But maybe it's
Blech.
like a British thing. Because I feel like that's the types of books I usually read it in now that I think about it. Because, like, books that are set in England or Britain, like, maybe that's a thing.
When I
Because they
think
also put milk in
Ovaltine,
their tea, which is gross.
okay, I'm gonna stop you on that one. That one's actually pretty good. When I was
Really?
in Russia, I that was all I drank. Every single time I asked for hot tea, I thought I was going to get like a regular hot tea. I only ever got like regular hot tea when I was at like a sushi restaurant and I got like green tea. Um, but at any
Ew.
cafe I ever went to, they always brought you like cream or like milk to drink with it. And I was like, I don't think I've ever had this before. Let's try it. And it actually wasn't that bad. I mean, it's just it tastes like tea, just like maybe like a coffee creamer kind of tea. I don't know. It wasn't bad.
I don't know. I'm not
See,
I'm not a
okay.
cream person though. Like I don't like cream alcohols. I don't like it. So, I don't know.
Ew. See, whenever I think of Ovaltine, all I can think about is um Christmas Story.
Mm, hmm.
Do you drink your Ovaltine?
I always think of like Nesquik. Like
Yeah,
when I
that's
think
basically what it is.
right, it's just like chocolate milk mix, right? Like powder.
It's made out of malt chocolate or something like
Yeah.
that. Blech.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not.
so but it's a milk product. You add it to milk, so then it's still sitting there. It was like a whole dinner party. Ugh, God, that's all I can think about. Hot milk.
I can't help you.
I'm sorry.
I
I
cannot help you.
I was
But
so
like also if
disgusted
you
when I
think
read
about
that.
it, because that's set like in like the 50s or something, right?
1930s, 40s.
Right. So like when they used to have like the milkman come, like that milk wasn't refrigerated before you got it. Like so
Yeah.
like it's milk has not always been like a super
No
refrigerated thing.
wonder
I don't
she
know.
had digestive issues and always had weird things happening to her. I don't know.
It's not for me. I keep my milk in the fridge. Actually, I only buy almond milk.
Same. Lactose
So, but
intolerant.
it's still always in the fridge. Oh my gosh.
I I think I literally put a comment. Someone's like, oh, what was it? I put I would push her off too at the sound of hot milk.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I think I literally made a like a comment because I thought she was gonna get like pushed over or something like that. I don't know. Like she was at like a window and she was gonna get moved over.
I don't know. I don't have anything else till the last page of the chapter.
That's all I had.
Um, I was just like, talk about being between a rock and a hard place because he's like, I would rather take on it. So Reese is talking about why he would rather take on everything himself. Um, and he's like, tonight is why. I see more cry is why. He's like, I made a bad call and tried to find some other way around this shithole we're in. Um, and had lost something in the process because Moore lost something in the process. But they're also talking about how um, he says, I should have found another way because if she, talking about Amarantha, um, if she showed up at this house, I would kill her without even letting her speak. I would kill her because he wouldn't just let it go. He wouldn't praise the cauldron for sending her to save the day. Like,
My rapist is here.
right, woo woo, like fucking no.
Party.
Yeah, that's
Back under
not
the
even
mountain
a
we
thing.
go.
Yeah, what the fuck ever, Reese. Okay.
Oh,
For some reason today, I can see the timer, and we are about halfway through. I know, I don't know what's happening. Um,
yeah, I
so
grabbed the book.
we have a new break idea for you. Emily
It's
found a book while
called
she was unpacking.
Will has a random book of facts. It says weird but true.
Thanks,
200
Will.
astounding, outrageous, and totally off the wall facts. And I was reading through some of these, and every single page I opened up, it like had something to do with lightning. And I honestly thought this was a book about like lightning facts. I was like, there cannot be 200 facts about lightning. Or it means something. I don't know. I should probably check my tarot because that's
Yikes.
concerning. Anyways,
Random kind of funny tangent. So the other morning I went to leave for work and I stepped into Brittany's office, like she works from home. I stepped into her office to say goodbye and then I was like, "Oh, are you in a meeting?" Because I just heard talking. No, it was us. I didn't recognize our voices apparently. But she
listen,
was
we
listening to the
sound different.
podcast.
Oh, that's
Right?
funny. It's really weird when you're like listening to like a recording of you. Like when I am doing like my acting classes and my coach wants me to like record. So like we'll record and then she's like, "Oh, that was totally good. Watch it again and like tell me what you think was great about it." And I was like, I don't
Right.
like that."
Well, and I
And
feel
then I
like
just sound
usually
weird.
usually when you record yourself and you're recording yourself on purpose, you put on your customer service voice and you talk like this and that's how you hear it. But like when we're sitting here talking like right, don't look at me like that. When we're sitting here talking like
That's
this,
my life now.
I'm talking in my normal voice. So
Yeah,
like hearing my normal voice on recording was super weird.
I
But
know. And
anyway,
it's like,
she was
do
like,
I
"No,
really
I'm
sound like
listening to
that?
you."
It's
Yeah.
fine. Sometimes I think when I talk, I like talk out the side of my mouth. I feel like my like lips curl up or something like that. So
Oh
then
my
I feel
gosh.
like I just sound weird, and then I focus more on like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Anyways,
Did you already
pick
do
a.
the random number generator?
I didn't. You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to do a random number generator to find out what weird but true fact we get today.
180. All right. Let's open her up. Let's see. 160, 170, 180. Covering grays. Ancient
Ooh.
Greeks and Romans created a substance to darken their hair and cover their grays by making a paste, a slacked lime, which is essentially limestone mixed with water and lead oxide. The Greek playwright Aristophanes mentions hair dye in the 4th century BCE. The Roman author, oh, I'm gonna fuck that up. Pliny, the Elder, and the Roman poet. Listen, I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is set in ancient Greek times,
Dude,
and that shit is so good and it's so nice because when I like English you literally just like make up sounds and that's a word. Like the Greeks,
oh my god.
at least the
Greek
names, you say
names
it
are
you
so
say it.
fucked.
Yeah. So
I'm
like
reading what is the book right now?
Circ,
Um
I don't know.
it's like a modern retelling of Hades and Persephone.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, what is that book called? Um and the names, I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
It's gonna drive me nuts. I have to look it up what book I'm reading.
so like all the like names, like what you would think it would sound like Persephone, it's like no, I think that's correct. But like Aristophanes, when you look at it, it looks like Aristophanes, Phanes, because it's
Yeah,
Phanes, but it's Aristophanes. And actually, not that he's a playable character, but he's like a part of the storyline in Assassin's
right,
Creed.
nice.
So, anyways,
Um,
the other one is Roman, and I do not. That game is not about Romans, so I don't know that. But anyways,
also, it's Neon Gods. Um,
oh
and don't judge me because it is such a smut book. Like, it's worse than 50 Shades of Grey. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, it's
well, I mean,
something.
Hades did kind of steal Persephone and rape her.
Not in this book.
There's a statue.
Yeah.
Anyways, um, a Roman author and a Roman poet, Ovid, whatever, mention it in text from the first century CE. So it's been
Hmm.
around for a shit long time. All right.
Can we also talk about the fact that they're making a paste out of lead and putting it on their heads? Because I feel like that's not healthy.
Well, the French did a lot of what is that song? By the musical Six, uh, House of Holbein. It's like something about lead in the face paint.
Yeah, well, I mean, we also
Uh,
put it on
but
our
at least
walls
your
and shit.
complexion will bring all the boys in. That's yeah. There you go. That's such a good one.
We put a bit asbestos in our roof tiles. It's fine.
Yeah. Isn't that like a flame retardant or something like that?
A bit
Isn't that why?
asbestos?
Yeah.
Probably, but it's like super bad for you.
Because I read somewhere that that was I wouldn't say ancient times, but that's been around for like
A long time.
a
Yeah.
couple thousand years. All right. Got another one.
Okay.
153. There's a cat one. Okay. Okay. So it says O, letter K. The chemical symbol for the element potassium is K. It comes from the Latin word kalium, which comes from kali, the Arabic word meaning ashes. It might seem logical that the chemical symbol for potassium would be P, but by the time potassium was discovered in 1807, there already was a P in the periodic table. P stands for phosphorus, which was discovered in 1669.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Interesting. I did know that the chemical symbol for potassium was K because, first of
Yes.
all, it's random as fuck. And second of all, because in the movie Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, the boy has some kind of health issue and the parents are shrunk so they can't help,
Mhm.
but he's supposed to take potassium pills and he doesn't take his pill, and they're like, potassium, give him a banana. And I just need you to know that my little, what, like 11-year-old self was
Yeah.
like, no, there's not enough potassium in a banana for that to work. That's not going to bring him back from his passing out. He's going to need his actual potassium pills. Like, just shoving some banana in his mouth. Like, there's so little potassium in bananas. Unless you eat like a shit ton of bananas, it's
I
not
think
going
you
to
have
be
to eat
enough.
like a pound of bananas to get, I wouldn't say a significant amount, but like a little bit.
Yeah, and there is potassium in bananas, but not enough for that scene in that movie to have actually happened, and it drove my little fact checker brain
Brain.
nuts. So, anyway, fun fact about
All
me, I'm
right.
a little bit OCD. Oh
All
god, I
right.
just
Last
touched the table
one.
and like the whole
Everything
thing.
moved.
Oh, we're doing another one.
Yeah, just last one.
Okay,
Number
one more.
13. Lucky number 13.
Ooh.
Color My World. Autumn leaves in Europe tend to be mostly yellow, while those in North America turn orange and red as well. The seasonal change in color depends upon what happens to the chlorophyll in the leaves. Leaves turn yellow when the green chlorophyll in them breaks down, allowing the leaves' natural yellow pigment to show through. Leaves turn red because they start to produce a new red pigment called uh, cyanin, if you're keeping track. When the chlorophyll breaks down, that was a whole sentence. Hold on, let me try that again. Leaves turn red because they start to produce a new red pigment called anthocyanin, if you're keeping track. when the chlorophyll breaks down. Why the latter occurs in North America and not in Europe is still a subject for debate and research.
Hmm. Interesting.
I did not know
Interesting.
that.
I did not know that either.
I just assume all trees did that.
Turned
Anyway,
red and orange.
cool.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
Glad I
All
found
right.
that. Cool.
Yeah, that was interesting. Okay. Chapter 28.
Yep.
Um so I like that like Feyre is all of it like all of a sudden she's just like evolved. She's just like not a shitty person anymore. And I like how she sees Cassian. And like she's like you he says you want to go hard today or take it easy and she's like I didn't think the others gave him enough credit for noticing the shift in someone's emotional current. But like she sees that in him and I just like how evolved Feyre is now and how she can like, notice other people and their redeeming qualities rather than just whining all the time. I feel like Feyre at the start of this book is a totally different character than she has been for the whole series.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of her trauma and her,
Yeah.
I guess, the way she, not, I wouldn't say the way she's dealing with it, but like, and I wouldn't also call it therapy, but how she's overcoming those obstacles of trauma, I
Yeah,
think
and
are really changing her.
I feel like she matured a lot throughout the last book and then like it kind of culminated in this book and now she's like a much more sophisticated person.
I think she's like 20 at this point.
Yeah, she's matured a lot. Listen, me at 20
Technically,
was not.
according to science, her brain is still developing until
It
the age
is.
of
Listen,
29.
we learned all about that yesterday in one of our new teacher orientation
Did you listen to a podcast?
sessions. No, the school district I'm at now has a whole team called the Brain Brigade that like studies the brain and how the adolescent brain works and how we have to respond. And like they have hand motions. They're like the amygdala and the hippocampus and like they have all these. It's hilarious. Anyway,
Yo, where were they when I was learning physical basis of behavior in class this semester? Where were
oh
they?
my
Because
god.
we learned all about that.
Yeah, and so like they were
Except for
teaching
I
us
couldn't,
about
I was
it.
like, what's this? What's this? What's this? Because we
Yeah.
learned about the parts of the brain.
Yeah, and like
What
what the different
did you
parts
call it?
do. A-
Amygdala.
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 Yeah, which is back here. And
Amygdala
it's your
is what I
fight or
call
flight
it.
response.
Yeah, that's what we talked about a lot. Because
Yeah.
it's like, well, why are these behaviors happening?
Yes.
The amygdala. Like,
Yeah. And we talked about like all of the different oh like how behavior is always communication. Like they're acting out because they're
that's
trying to tell
true.
you something. Anyway, that's a total tangent to something that we're not really talking about anymore.
Yeah, and I could
But
go on for days. That's my master's. So
yeah, it's
I could go
super
on for days
interesting
about it.
though. Um I don't have anything to page 294.
I guess I'm on 292.
Okay.
So, um, basically at the end of their, not at the end of their training session, but like right before, like the end of that like section to move before they moved on to like the next training session. Um, he was like, I definitely need this, like talking about like the hand to hand fighting kind of stuff. And she's like, I suppose there are worse methods of coping. And I was like, yeah, heroin.
Yeah, lots of worse methods. I don't know why
Yeah.
that was so hard to say.
And physical activity really helps my mood too. Like if I'm dancing or something like that, then I get like really endorphins, obviously.
Yeah.
Uh, it's chemistry. And chemistry, no.
I mean, kind of all the chemicals in your brain.
Okay, it's chemistry.
It
And
is. It's technically
I'm
biology,
just
but it's chemistry.
chemistry of biology.
Yeah.
There you go. But I'm honestly usually unmotivated to actually partake.
Right?
Like on the
Oh my
days that I
god.
like went like kickboxing or something like that, I loved it. Loved it so much. I was so happy for it. I was so excited. But then there were days where I'm just like, I don't want to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
I literally had to get out of bed at like 6:30 every single day this week. I do not want to get out of bed past 8.
And listen, I'm a morning person, so like it's hard because first of all, I'm not gonna get up and at 5 a.m. to work out before work.
Mm-mm,
It's not gonna
mm-mm.
happen. Second of all, if I work out before work, I then have to make sure I have time to shower afterwards because I'm gonna look like a whole bridge troll. Like
Yeah.
it's not gonna be
I'm
cute.
gonna smell
These
like one
people
too.
Yeah, and these people that are, like, walking the halls on their lunch break to get in some exercise, I'm like, "That's great, but I'm gonna look like a hag when I'm done." So and I'm
Honestly.
gonna stink, and I'm gonna be sweaty, my hair's gonna be all curled and frizzed out. It's not gonna be cute.
Yeah. Like today at work, I mean, South Carolina, it's hot. And you know the store building's not that hot. It's really not. It's just you're moving around, you're walking, you're picking things up, like just activity. It was like 4 hours in and I'm like, God, I am so fucking hot. I am so overweight. This heat is killing me. Hair went up. And I met so many people today, like not customers, just like people I'd be working with. I was like, yo, I probably look fucking atrocious right now. And I went at the end of my shift, I went and grabbed my stuff out of the break room, and like there's a mirror in the break room that says "Check your smile." And I was staring at it. I was like, "Yo, my hair, my like, I had a high ponytail and it went back, and then like everything else was just frizzy. I like you could see the sweat on me, and I was like, this is not cute. Like you bitches taking your cute gym selfies, you lying."
Right? I feel like they take that before they start working out, so then when
Oh
they get all
yeah,
sweaty and gross. Ugh, anyway,
nasties.
we're only gonna get through 3 chapters, we should go.
Sorry.
We keep tangenting today. So on 294, they're talking about um who's gonna come to this meeting with all the High Lords. And I'm just like, all the egos are making this really fucking difficult. Like, ugh. But
Oh,
even Turk,
like the high lord egos?
yeah, yeah, and like them,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
We're gonna let you stew before we give you your answer. Oh, we'll come, but where are we meeting? There, we're
right,
not meeting there. Like,
right, like okay, all
then you
right,
pick a fucking place.
right, okay, oof. And then I
This
like
is
how
why women
Farah,
need to be leaders.
I like how Farah validates Moore's feelings, and she's like,
Mhm.
because she's like about last night, and Moore's like, it's fine, it's nothing. And Fabio's like, no, it's not nothing. You're allowed to feel that way. And Moore's
Yeah.
like brushing it off. And, but she gets her to talk about it. Feyre validates her feelings and then gets her to talk about it, which I think is great. And again, is a big like growth point for Feyre because she didn't
Yeah.
used to care.
And you know, Moore says something on the next page where it's like my father, or no, not my father. Um, if I let it impact my joy, my life, like talking about her father and Eris, like I can't let it impact me the way that it is showing, because then it's just like it's ruining my relationships with all of you. Like this is war. This is what it war is. And I was like, yeah, girl, that is so true. Don't let others impact your happiness. Make it yourself.
Yes. And then just below that, either she's talking about like how she hates war and not just because of the death and all that stuff, but like because of the choices and the decisions they have to make. And then Feyre's like in her head, she says the choices and the costs. And I'm like, yeah, every choice has a cost. Like everything you do has a cost. It might not be a negative cost, but It has
It's
some kind of
costing
cost. It's going
less.
to impact you.
Yeah, it's horrible. Even today, like your choices of who you support and who you don't support can impact like a ton of people.
Oh, okay. I'm not gonna talk about it on here, but remind me that I have a story to tell you about somebody at the presentation I was at this morning.
Okay, you got it. Um, oh, on page 297. Um,
Yes.
so they're all talking about Elaine and how Elaine might be going insane.
And they had
Um,
a healer come.
yeah, and the healer who was like Rezan's number one doctor, she's she's like, I've seen victims of trauma before. Her symptoms match well with many of those invisible wounds, but like she was also made by something I did not understand. Is there something wrong with her? I don't like that word. Wrong. Different, perhaps. Changed. Well, no fucking shit. She's changed. She's not fucking human no more. She's different. Of course,
Right?
she's changed. And I like how they're just using that as if she literally was Faye prior to being shoved into the cauldron. Like,
Right. Um,
yes, she's
the
different.
word barked is on this page at least twice, and I wrote bark bark. Like,
Okay, but hold on. What in what aspect was it? Oh, then a barked command. Okay, I'll
yeah,
let that one
how?
slide.
The word was barely more than a barked command. I'll let that one slide. But then earlier or later, Nesta's like, call another healer. And Feyre's like, not if you're gonna bark them out of the house. Bark bark. Rah.
I could see that. She's like a not,
Just
okay,
see her
look.
growling at them like
If I
"Rah."
could pick a dog for Nesta, Nesta would look like the most terrifying, like a wolf, like a really, really terrifying dog hybrid kind of like thing.
Yes.
But gentle giants. She ain't no gentle giant. She's a fucking chihuahua.
Right?
She's a
She's a
mean little shit.
demon. Oh my gosh. Hilarious. Um
Ugh,
Also, they're talking about letting Lucian try to feel through the bond and to talk to Elaine and see if he can find anything. And I was like, that's not a bad idea. Like,
no,
Nesta's not gonna fucking like it, but it's
no.
not a bad idea.
I mean, they are tethered somehow. And I feel like this is just kind of like personal. Like, this is personal. It's like,
Hmm.
it's their one on one bond. It's like they're
Yeah.
connected somewhere. You're literally like watching porn. I mean, okay, that's a little extreme, but
But it's a very
the
intimate
idea
thing.
of
Like,
it. Yes,
yeah.
intimate. That's the word I was going for. Intimate. And they're literally chaperoning.
Right.
It's like, okay,
Yes.
we're just gonna sit here and wait,
Yes.
watch the
And
magic happen.
like literally the first sentence of the next chapter is it was the most uncomfortable 30 minutes I could recall. Because like, duh.
Bitch, get in the other room.
Right, go away.
And I feel like at this point, I literally feel like at this point, she could have asked Lucian. I know this is very like probably not a good idea, but like if I was her, I'd be like, "Hey, I will give you all the space you want, but can I like chill in your
Right,
mind to see like if I
right.
could like see something?"
I feel like that'd be even more
I mean, that's
overbearing.
yeah.
I don't
But
know.
I mean, I'd rather someone be in my mind instead of just like physically sitting there.
This true. Um,
But
so we're already into chapter 29 now, and I just have to keep going because I was cracking up on page 300. Cassian and Reese come back, and Feyre tells Reese through the bond, "Don't come in." That Lucian's trying to get through to Elaine, and he says back, like, because Cassian says, "Does Elaine know that?" Because Elaine's just kind of sitting there, not really talking. Um, and Feyre's like, "She was invited for tea, so we're having it," and I'm just cracking up.
they're just all sitting there in a room by themselves, not talking. What kind of tea party is this bullshit?
Right? And then on the next page, Reese is like, "Enjoy your tea, you overbearing chaperone." I was just
Yeah,
cracking up.
and then she sits there, and before that, though, she's like, "I could have used a chaperone around you, you realize?" And I was like, I would say she had chaperones. Okay, so instead of reading the next line, I literally wrote this out. I was like, I feel like she had chaperones, but need more responsible ones.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, Reese said you had 4 of them in this house. Okay. Amren's probably the most responsible when it comes to like shit like that. However,
Right.
Amren's like, fuck you guys, and like pieces
Right.
out. Also, Amren is such a cranky old woman.
But I also feel like Cassian is such like a big brother. Like I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
had anything untoward happen, anything Feyre didn't want to happen, I feel like Cassian would have punched Reese in the
As
throat.
too. They would have
Yeah.
kicked his ass. Well, and Reese even said that. Reese is like, no, Cassian and Az would have let me have it if anything happened
Right.
that you were uncomfortable with. Which is
Yeah.
really nice because it's like, oh, cool. You don't even like your bros, but also like
You're gonna hold him
that is
accountable.
key. Yeah. Um,
On page 301, we find out that Tarquin is considering coming to the High Lord meeting, which is great considering the whole Blood Ruby situation or
I
Blood
feel like
Diamond or
Tarquin
whatever.
only did that because he had to,
Right.
but
Like
I
he
feel like he's
clearly
like,
isn't
no,
like
this is they needed
actively
this.
searching for them.
And they know where
Yeah.
he's at.
Right. Like, and they're not like sending assassins to kill them or anything. Like, yeah. And then on that same page, I said again, because they said that Elaine's moment of lucidity or something like that was gone. Where'd it go?
Wasn't it down at the bottom or something like that?
Yeah, Elaine only stared at him for a long moment, and any lucidity faded away as she shook her head and said to Nesta, "Twin ravens are coming, one white and one black." And I said again, I don't think that she's insane. I don't think it's that she's not lucid. I think she's prophesizing. Like, I think she is seeing the future. She's seeing it and saying it in the weirdest ass ways,
Winter is coming.
but right.
Just like that. It's
Like
like,
a
what?
coded
Like
weird ass
actual winter?
prophecy. Right. Like, huh? Huh? No.
Cool. We're gonna have an albino and a black raven.
Yeah, but
Solid.
da da da. Um,
Ah.
and then on the next page, Auntie Amryn comes back. Because Nesta gets pissed because Lucian tugs on the bond and Elaine feels it and she kind of freaks out a little bit and Nesta gets pissy and so she takes Elaine outside and is like, tea's done basically. And then Amryn is like, someone go retrieve your sister. Her lesson isn't over. And Feyre just goes, yes, Amryn. Like, I just fucking
Yes,
love
Auntie
it.
Emran.
I love it. Cracks me
There's
up.
there's what was it? Oh, so on the next page, like 303. First off, I didn't even register the little symbol down the bottom of page 302. All I read was, I suppose that left me to retrieve Nesta. And I went straight over there and I said that pine tree wasn't there a moment ago. I thought, like on Bitchy Bookworms on Facebook, you know how like some books will come and it's like 302, 347. And it's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? What? I thought that
Yeah.
happened to me. And I was like, nope, the numbers are correct. What the fuck? And then I noticed the symbol. I was like, oh, we're done with that conversation. Okay,
All
cool.
right. Scene
Threw me
change.
off. Anyways, so next page, she's training with Az, and she's fucking failing at it, running into trees, all that. And so they're talking about the Ouroboros and talking about like what happens. And there's actually like a myth, not I wouldn't say a myth, but talking about the carver, I think it was. Um, what page is that on? Oh, 304. What? Hold on. Okay, I don't know. There's like, oh, there it is. It's like top middle page. Basically they're just talking about how like she was obsessed with the mirror because of her beauty or whatever. And I was like, it kind of makes me think of like Snow White. obsessed with her mirror, but like Rapunzel with the beauty, like long everlasting beauty, not necessarily to check yourself out.
Right.
Just weird.
Hmm.
You know, it's kind of weird. A lot of movies, or not movies, books aren't, I wouldn't say original, but like
But
intertwined.
yeah. Well, because like the first book was a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Oh,
Like,
fuck yeah.
yeah, like,
The worst part of it. The
right.
worst Beauty
Ooh,
and the Beast part of it. Maybe like the original.
right. Um, but we're so they are talking about the mirror more, and I just wrote like who is going to get the mirror because they keep bringing it back up. So somebody's gonna go look in the goddamn mirror, and I just need to know who it's gonna be. And I feel like I'm not gonna like it. Like
Who do
I
you
feel
think
like
it's going to
who
be?
I don't know Nesta, but I don't know because they need Nesta.
Well, and we already know Nessa has her own book.
That's true.
But we also know that a lot of people go into that last book. So it's like,
I just feel like
are they
someone's
insane?
gonna look in that mirror, and I'm not gonna like it when it happens. So I don't know.
Maybe
We'll
that
see.
person's going to look in the mirror, kind of go insane, and then get like your, like you have to like figure it out.
Yeah, maybe. I don't
Maybe the
know.
King of Hybern will look at it. I already know who looks in it. I already know what happens.
I know you do, but I just need to know, and I feel like I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna
It
be
kind of
like
confused
Lucian or
me.
something. I don't
It,
know.
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of confused me, like the like how it was being described. I wasn't picturing it well. But anyways, um, so there's a well, first off, is Az half Fae, half Illyrian?
I thought he was just Illyrian because he was like the son of the Illyrian.
He was the son of an Illyrian person.
I thought so. I could be making that up
I don't
though.
remember.
Because like
He
his
was the
father kept
bastard
him.
son,
Yeah.
so his
Oh.
mom,
So who was his mom? No, his mom was definitely Illyrian though, because
yeah, but like was the father Fae or was he Illyrian?
I thought he was
I'm gonna look
Illyrian
this up.
because I thought that he like his father was the one that wouldn't let him train and wouldn't let him, but I could be totally just making that up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um but he starts to tell us the story of Nefeli, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yo, yeah, I Nefeli might
Nefeli
be.
and Miriam, and how um Nefeli saves Miriam because basically her people, which I forget what they're called, the seraphim, so whatever, the angels
Seraphim or
basically,
something.
um, they had wings, but instead of kind of like the Illyrians, but instead of being bat-like wings, their wings were feathered and yada yada yada. Um, and Nefele was not a warrior; she was a cartographer, like a map maker, basically. Um, and she wasn't a warrior because her wings were smaller and kind of deformed and not quite as strong, right? So this story was like fascinating to me and I loved it. But they tell the story about how like they have the sea parted with their magic so their people can get through and away from the humans can get through and away from the army basically that's chasing them. Um and Miriam almost gets caught in the water as they start to like let the sea go back together. But Nefele, with her tiny little wings, is able to get there and carry her out, and like basically saves her life. But the other part of this story that I like so much is Nefele is gay. She has a female
Yeah,
partner, which it caught me off guard. I had to read it like three times. I was like, wait, is Nefele female? Like I had to read it like three times to realize that it was just because it was just so artfully put in there. It wasn't even like a thing, and it made me really happy.
I really like when it's like a subtle entry. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not like you know how some things like I understand I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this. But like you know how like some people are like in your face
Hmm.
about things, but it's
And
like
don't get me wrong, like I
it's
like stories like that too, but
right. I just like how
it wouldn't have made
normalized it
sense here.
was.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
And it wouldn't have made sense for them to lead with that here, because that was not what the
right.
story was about. They just slid it in there, and I really liked that.
Yeah, because it's like, well, cool, that's great that they're, gay or whatever, but that's
That's not what the
not
story is
the
about,
point
though.
of it. Like,
Right.
I wanna
And,
hear
like,
the
don't get me
point
wrong,
of it.
I like stories like Love, Simon or Simon versus the
Mhm.
Homo Sapien Agenda if you're talking about the book. Like, I like stories like that where it is in your face, but that's because that's what the story's about.
Right.
It wouldn't have made
So,
sense
it's like,
here for it to be that way.
yeah, if you start it off like that, that's fine,
Yeah.
but when
So I
it's,
get what
like,
you're saying.
a side story and it's just like, they're gay, but she did this really cool feat,
Yeah,
bro.
no. It was just kind of
Um,
slid in there, like,
right.
and I
Well,
liked it.
and I think it's hilarious because Azrael's like, "Yeah, she couldn't do this or she couldn't do that, but man, she was saving her." Yeah, of course she was able to do it when she was trying to save her friend. It's called determination and adrenaline.
I was gonna say adrenaline, it's an adrenaline
Your
rush, right?
body can
Like,
do a shit ton of things on adrenaline. But
yeah,
honestly, I love a good underdog story and obviously LGBTQ uh
yes. And
representation.
I love that they call it now, like, what are they where's it at? Um, so, like, it defied all logic, all training. She had never been strong enough to even hold a shield, and she carried Miriam, and she flew, and she wasn't a great flyer. So now they call it the Nefele, philosophy when you
Yeah, and
because the whole point of this story was, um, Pharaoh was like, "Should I even keep training to fly because I'm not gonna be able to fly with the legions because I'm not very good at flying." And that's why Az tells her this story about, like, overcoming adversity, and he's like, "Every little second counts, every little bit counts." And I thought that was really cool.
yeah,
And that's all I
it's
had
really
for that
great.
chapter.
Same.
So,
I just love it because then she's like, you know what? Yeah, let's try again.
yeah, and then, like, I liked it. So I really liked that story.
Yeah, that was
Um,
nice. It was cute.
it was. We just got through 4 chapters.
Mm.
Girl.
We're
Anyway.
regressing.
All right.
It's the Ovaltine. It was the talk about the Ovaltine.
Fucking Ovaltine.
God
Damn
damn it.
it.
Ugh,
All right.
malt. I don't like malt anything, and
Oh my gosh,
ugh,
I like a chocolate malt from, like, Dairy Queen. I do like malt. I like malted milk balls, like
Will
Whoppers.
likes malt, and he's like, "You want to try this?" Fuck no, I don't. That is all you. Get that
Mm.
shit away from me. That's nasty as hell. Anyways,
Alright. Alright, bye.
bye. Thanks so much.